Alright everybody, today we have to talk about Venom 3 The Last Dance because a bunch of news came out that Spider-Man might be in this movie, a bunch of people are saying Andrew Garfield's gonna be in it, and there's just a lot of chatter about this movie right now, and it reminded me of a plot leak that I saw over on Reddit about a year ago, and I think I'm gonna reintroduce it to you guys again today. I'm gonna read through the whole thing. It is a pretty big leak, but honestly, with all the stuff that came out today, I think it might be true. There might be some potential that it's true, but regardless, take it with a grain of salt. It is just a rumor. It is a plot leak. Nothing is confirmed. This could completely be false. Like, none of it could actually happen in the movie. So without further ado, let's get started. You've been warned. Don't get your expectations up and think this is all going to happen. But anyways, here we go. So the title of the Reddit post is Movie Spoilers Venom 3 Plot Leak. Take with a grain of salt. It says the preface here. This is the person that posted it. It said, when I visited a filming location for Venom Let There Be Carnage back in January 2020, I struck up a conversation with a crew member, and we ended up exchanging socials. He's a big Venom fan too. We'd kept in touch on and off since the last month. He told me he was going to be working on the third Venom movie. He was really cool about sharing a few insider tidbits, but the biggest one I just got from him is a draft summary of the plot. So it looks like whoever posted this on Reddit met someone that was working on Venom 2 that's also working on Venom 3 now, and I guess they've been exchanging messages here and there ever since that day. So it says here, he said that Kelly, Marcel, and Tom Hardy are still working on it, and this by no means exactly what we might see in the theaters, so he was cool with a little leak, as long as I promised not to reveal his identity. So that makes sense. Obviously, he's not going to reveal the person's identity and get them fired and all that, so without further ado, again, let's go ahead and dive into the plot leak. This is the information that this guy got from someone that allegedly is working on Venom 3. So it says, the movie starts with Eddie and Venom returning to the Sonyverse after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home in the end credits scene, and in a similar tiki bar, but with a different bartender and decorations, which we saw in the trailer. The actual bar itself does look a little bit different. The bartender is the same actor, same shirt and everything, but apparently it's different. They're still very drunk and set on finding Spider-Man, so Eddie stumbles out on his trip back to the mainland United States. Meanwhile, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man shifts into an alley in New York City after returning from the MCU. He's immediately confronted with run-of-the-mill muggers, so this would be in New York City, which he remarks as classic New York, and defeats them. The victim runs off screaming for help when Spidey follows up with them. As he exits the alley to swing around the city, he notices something. This isn't his city, and it's clear from the public's sensationalist reaction to his appearance that he's not the name brand he was in New York City. He realizes that he didn't return to his own universe. Now that is extremely interesting. There's a few people that have said that Andrew Garfield is going to be the Spider-Man in this movie. I still don't know how I feel about that. I'm very skeptical, but let's continue. It says, in another part of town, former detective Patrick Mulligan from Let There Be Carnage, who is obviously in a bad way following the events in San Francisco and seemingly in a rut with his career and health, is woken up by his ex-wife Gina Waters, who tells him he should be up and out getting a new job with the department so he can afford his own place and stop crashing at hers. So this might be the lady that we saw in the trailer with the two young kids. And one of her kids, which is the young boy, is rumored to be Bren Waters, who in this leak is said to be 17 years old, but it looks like that was changed because if this kid in the photo is Bren, he's going to be roughly about 10 years old. And apparently he has a lot of issues with his dysfunctional family, especially his father. As Patrick Mulligan is mooching breakfast from them, he has Bren show him some sort of TikTok video Bren's apparently been obsessing over all morning. Amateur footage of Spider-Man apprehending the muggers from the alley. Bren is an instant fan of this new hero, but Pat's distaste for the masked vigilante goes beyond that of your average hard-as-nails detective. He becomes feverish and leaves the apartment, speaking seemingly to himself about finally finding a monster, though not the one that we came back for. He shuffles off on his hunt for the Spider-Man. So we know that in Venom 2, he was like, monsters, and apparently he's going to be hunting them and sees Spider-Man as a monster or some kind of threat, and he's going to get like really sick and probably start talking to Toxin. Then it says, eventually as Spidey is getting his bearings in this new universe and wondering how he will get back to his own, he's attacked by a new formidable symbiotic threat, Toxin. Toxin models himself as a twisted lethal protector charged with ridding the world of monsters like Spider-Man. Spider-Man narrowly escapes the savage onslaught only to cross paths with Venom. Spidey instinctively takes the offensive against Venom, who he sees as only another alien monster similar to Toxin, and Venom, whose first impression of Spider-Man is spoiled by the circumstances and Spider-Man's aggression. He fights back, however, their battle is interrupted by Toxin, who attacks both Spider-Man and Venom with equal ferocity, identifying both of them as monsters, especially Venom, who Toxin bears special unction against. Spidey and Venom call a truce between themselves and again narrowly escape Toxin after dealing a stunning blow against him. The duo retreat underground into an abandoned subway tunnel where they explain to each other their stories and come to terms with which side they're on. Venom recognizes Toxin as Carnage's spawn, but also as the 1000th generation of his symbiotic lineage, which means Toxin is not only leagues more powerful than his predecessors, owing to the cumulative knowledge passed down by the hive mind, but his psychology is more malleable and receptive to influence. Venom senses that Toxin is at a critical stage of his development and that he and Spidey need to subdue the spawn and make sure he doesn't succumb to the chaotic destructiveness of his parent. Also, Eddie recalls during their fight with Toxin a brief glimpse at the host within and realizes it's Detective Mulligan. Eddie resolves to find out where he's residing using his investigative journalism skills as Peter gathers supplies to build weapons to combat Toxin. Meanwhile, Patrick Mulligan returns to his ex's apartment completely schizophrenic and unhinged as Toxin, speaking in his head, berates Pat for being weak. Pat's moments of clarity come as he realizes what he and Toxin did, and his morality as a former law officer makes him rebel against Toxin's crazy suggestions. As they fight in the apartment, Bren walks in on them from returning from school. Toxin jumps to Bren and takes off with his young, unwitting host to hunt down Venom and Spidey to finish the job, leaving Pat behind weakened and distraught for allowing a monster to take his son. Venom and Spidey show up at the apartment ready to fight, only to find Patrick Mulligan alone, and Pat informs them of what Toxin did and begrudgingly asks them to help him get his son back. Venom and Spidey follow a social media lead about Toxin's whereabouts and Pat chases after them. In the climactic battle, Pat gets caught in the crossfire and becomes gravely wounded, eliciting a reaction from Bren that disrupts Toxin's rage. This gives Spidey and Venom their opportunity and they defeat him. Venom, calling upon the ancestral knowledge of the symbiotes, interfaces with Toxin and cleanses the symbiote of Carnage's lingering corrupting influence. Bren emerges in control of the fledgling symbiote spawn. Tearfully, he's unable to help save his dying father with his symbiote, as it has, through the cleansing process, permanently bonded with Bren at a submolecular level, creating the first human symbiote hybrid. Not hybrid the character, but just a hybrid, like a human symbiote hybrid. Likewise, Pat disallows Venom from temporarily bonding with him to save him. In a touching goodbye, Pat asks for Bren's forgiveness for being a terrible father and to learn and be inspired by true heroes like Spider-Man had been proven to be in a short time in this new universe. Bren tells Pat despite everything, even his father was a hero to him too. As the dusk clears and a new day dawns, Spider-Man swears to help Bren in honor of Pat's final request as long as he's stuck in this universe. Likewise, Venom, though disallowing himself as a good role model for Bren and Toxin, vows to help him navigate their situation to the best of their abilities. In return, Bren promises to make good on his father's wishes and the new power bequeathed to him, and to explore the symbiote's hive mind of knowledge to find a way to return Spider-Man to his home universe. Spider-Man remarks that this new universe isn't so bad and that it could use a Spider-Man for a short time. Then the last part of the plot leak here says that in the post-credits scene, Spider-Man and Venom are going to be following Toxin's lead as he hunts down the monster that Toxin and Patrick Mulligan were originally going to New York City to find and hunt. They corner this monster, who turns out to be Jared Leto's Morbius, the living vampire. And I know everyone's super excited right now because everyone loves Morbius. It was the best movie of all time. But yeah, I could totally see Sony doing some crazy post-credit scene involving Morbius. It's just something they would do. But yeah, guys, that is the alleged leaked plot for Venom 3. Honestly, I think some of it makes sense, some of it not really. I'm obviously very skeptical. Like I said, take this with a grain of salt. This is just a giant rumor just based off of a post from Reddit. But it does kind of relate to a lot of the leaks and rumors that we're hearing recently about Spider-Man possibly being in the movie, and then Sony's execs are saying that they want this movie to be huge, and then Tom Hardy just came out today and said that there is a Spider-Man in this universe that Venom 3 is taking place in, and then there was rumors of Andrew Garfield being in this movie, so honestly, I don't know what to think right now. For me, the big question that I'm asking myself right now after watching the official The Last Dance trailer is, where is the whole symbiote invasion? In the trailer it said that Venom's people have found him, but in that plot leak they don't reference any of that, so maybe that was added later on, or maybe that symbiote invasion is happening and Spider-Man and Toxin and Venom are all teaming up to fight all of these different symbiotes or something. Like I said, I think parts of this will happen, parts of it probably not, but I think having Spider-Man in this movie is a must. Like, we've waited 3 Venom movies now just to get Venom vs. Spider-Man, and it doesn't even really look like they're gonna fight for that long. It looks like there might be one little fight scene between Venom and Spider-Man, and then they're gonna team up and go fight Toxin, and then that's about it. So we're not getting like a true Venom vs. Spider-Man movie, but I do think this is pretty interesting. Let me know your thoughts about this down below. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's not? And do you think we're actually going to get a Spider-Man in this movie? That's the big one out of this whole plot leak. It's saying that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's gonna be in it, but do you think he's actually gonna be in it? So guys, that is it for the video. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and rumors regarding Venom: The Last Dance, make sure you guys subscribe. I'll be posting a ton of videos regarding this movie leading up to its release in October. I hope it's a really good movie. I really like that trailer and I have a lot of faith in this film, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see if we're actually going to get a good movie that has Spider-Man facing off against Venom. And who knows, maybe this links towards an incursion between a couple different universes, because it looks like Andrew Garfield is going to be in the wrong universe, so that could make things really interesting, and who knows, maybe Marvel is working with Sony to make something like that happen later on, especially because there were some rumors that we might get Venom in a project like Secret Wars. But yeah, that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think about all this down below. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.